Okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was something like that.
Yeah. So, well, you never know. Sometimes people
Lots
have
of imported
hobbies.
camels,
People
too.
have to do one thing.
No, that's a
Other
true
people
thing.
that are
Steve,
Really?
Steve's laughing. Yeah, they import their
But he had a
camels.
little.
No,
What
really
did
laughing.
that? Yeah, they do. That Slifer end up being?
So
Was
he
it
was
broken?
involved with all kinds of yeah, this one was broken. Well, this is up to
When that meant something crazy,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
still now, but
Yeah.
when that was insane.
Yeah, exactly. There were that many billionaires back. The first two messages are top.
Yeah,
Yeah. He, by the way, he also bought the rest are K3 that I didn't know that. It's kind of where
Okay.
that's what happened.
It does a little bit. Okay. Yeah. But what did
Yeah,
K3
that's
say?
right.
The Ritz Hotel, not.
This last one, nobody knows why. Quite no. Howard Carter.
That's an odd bit of Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, at the Ritz Hotel, it all originated there. So he had this thing where he described there.
On actually on
here it
Saturday,
is,
August 30th, 1997. So I guess that's
I made a tiny
few
break
years
in the
after.
left-hand corner and then wide
I'll
to the
find
wall.
of them.
And
Bought
turned
the
candle
hotel.
and peered in the
Princess
hot air,
Diana
taking a
arrived in
chamber
Paris
across
with
the
her
flame
then
from my
boyfriend, as we mentioned, Dodi Fayed, via private jet. As we mentioned, Al Fayed, Mohammed Al Fayed, which is Dodi's father,
some little random
the
characters
Ritz
thrown in
Hotel.
there for some strange
And
reason.
Diana and
Well,
Dodi
he does it. You
planned
will
to
see in the
spend the
translations
night
of this
there.
text.
They had spent
In
the
random
9
places,
preceding
there
days
are
and nights
X's
together as
in the
well.
text, and those appear to be used
around.
as
They were on a
periods.
ship,
Or
right?
on a what?
On a yacht or
Or
something.
break.
They sort of
Freaking
mark breaks
yacht.
between
Giant
175-foot yacht. Yeah.
Super yacht.
You're right. And I
Yeah,
was
kind
wondering
of,
what the heck
kind
was
of.
going on
The
with
head
that
of
one.
security,
Yeah. Well, a lot of
Henri
people have wondered about that,
right?
too.
We've seen it both ways. It's French, so I think it's Henri, but a lot of people say it's Henry.
Right.
And if
We'll
like you
probably
say,
call
he
him
screwed
Paul.
up, he doesn't want to admit it.
Mr. Paul.
Well,
Mr. Paul.
hopefully be truthful and honest, because
He
actually
had been
did
instructed
make
to
one
drive
error.
Dodi and Diana in a rented, I guess, Mercedes from the hotel to an apartment that Al Fayed also owned in town, since the paparazzi he's not the one who actually becoming kind of a huge issue, and the couple wanted some privacy.
And that person did.
It's I guess we kind of just, I just kind of ran with this. I'm ready. I had an energy drink. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm ready for it. We're talking about
he was
the
required, Timber was
crash,
required to
the
actually
overview
give
of the
them
crash.
The
and
night they
that.
died.
The night that Dodi,
along with
Diana,
the
and
techniques they used. So I
Mr.
think
Paul
what happened
Henri
is he
died.
got
Okay,
trained up.
so we rolled out of the
So we're not
We're
talking about
into the
players
action.
anymore.
The
We're in the
event.
story.
He got
Yes.
trained
Yeah.
up in it. And
Sorry.
he scripted it.
I'm just too excited about this.
He
I'm
had to
so
hand it
sorry.
to the CA. Essentially, what they wanted to do is they wanted to tell what story.
For real though, a decoy car
CIA is a
left the
bunch of
hotel
jerks.
just prior to the
Yeah,
car,
you know,
which was meant to distract most of the paparazzi.
I think he did actually work quite a few.
Many of them.
Most of them.
At 12:20 a.m., so I guess it's August 31st now, Dodi and Diana departed by the rental car driven by Henri, who many report had been drinking that night, but may have been taking some prescription pills that would have impaired his ability to react quickly, like, you want your driver to be able to do. And we will talk about that in
Yeah, we're
really
deep.
for
And in fairness
Paul Jett, I
to
presume that
Henri,
people have tried
he
to
actually
get some kind
got,
of
maybe you're going to talk about this, but he actually got off the
before.
70.
Yeah, and then
and then was basically called back by Dodi. Supposedly there.
Yeah. So it's not as though.
Yeah, I don't know that we were going to. The timeline had been brought up at any point for later on. But yeah, if I understand 3.5 hour gap between him getting off ship and suddenly
One
being
of
back
the problems. Yeah.
Well, so I mean,
So it's
K4
reasonable
is
that he could have
what?
had a drink.
97
Yeah,
characters.
it's less than 100 characters long, which the longer a cipher
member
is,
of the
more
Fayed family
clues you
security
can
team
gather
named
by patterns that are generated.
Yeah,
When it's such a
also
short
in the car.
thing,
He was
without
actually
the key,
he actually survived the
pretty
crash.
oh yes.
Yeah, you kind of are.
He was in the front with Henri, and then Diana Jones in the back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've heard conflicting reports about whether or not he was wearing a seatbelt.
I have two. Yeah.
But his airbag did go off. So
His airbag did go off, and again, he may or may not have been wearing a seatbelt. It's unclear. Nobody else in the car was wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
So he was in the front passenger seat. Henri was driving, and Diana and Dodi were in the back seats. Yeah, Watson. Despite the decoy car, many paparazzis.
That's paparazzi, real paparazzi.
Yes, paparazzi
Because it's the right
were still managed to realize
they
that
don't want him to know the answer.
And we're following this car.
Yeah,
Reports vary, but it's possible that Diana was not, in fact, because actually sitting in the seat, like you would actually sit definitely not.
He's so dumb.
Some reports say that she was actually like kneeling backwards in the seat, so her knees and legs and chin would have been on the floor of the back passenger.
So her feet were
That's what I mean.
underneath,
Just like
underneath
flip the feet.
the fronts.
You know, and that she was like leaning over
ultra intelligent, artificial intelligence, runs the entire world.
Is that a good description of
that?
And that was because some dude could accidentally trip over
and just destroy all of her infrastructure.
You kind of feel you kind of get wedged in there. That would feel kind of safe. So I don't think it was a good decision.
Well, no. I've seen people do that where they crawl into the floorboard of a car to avoid photographers, and it never fails. Somebody takes a picture of them peeking up out of the floor well, looking like a ding dong with that deer in the headlights look. And it's like, man, just sit in your seat and hold your jacket up so they can't see you and be comfortable.
Yeah.
But it was also a long way to be sitting in that position.
Yeah, it was a lot. So Henri was driving pretty fast.
About 400 bucks.
We'll talk about this in a minute.
Yeah, we don't know exactly how fast.
We don't know how fast, but definitely faster than the suggested, 35 miles an hour?
30, 35 miles an hour.
A lot faster than that, definitely. At least twice as fast. Yeah.
It was like,
Oh, by the way, actually, right before he entered an underpass, or right as he entered an underpass.
Yeah, except for it's like the Eagles,
and we'll
except
talk
for
about
that
why in a minute.
one
somebody
Hell Freezes Over album that they made.
Out of the 70s,
Yeah, and so you always just, well, now I'm going back to this time frame of
high
music.
speed.
Totally. Yeah, so we don't know. There's a lot about this. I just thought it was kind of, so I'm just going to kind of go.
Yeah, this is kind of a brief overview.
Facts that we 100% know happened. We know he lost control of the car.
Yes.
For why, we don't know, but we know he lost control of the car. He swerved kind of into the oncoming lanes, like to his left. He didn't make it into the oncoming lanes, but he swerved towards the oncoming lanes.
Yeah.
And hit one of the support beams of the underpass. It was the 13th support beam. Ooh.
Yeah.
And let's kind of give everyone.
Thinking Sideways is not supported by Netscape.
And so
I remember being going to see my boyfriend when I was 19, 20, and being in a good mood when I was with him, and then I left and I was like, oh, I gotta go home now and deal with my parents. And my parents are awesome, for the record, as an older person now, but you just kind of get in that like, oh god. Or maybe it's even like, oh god, I gotta go back to that house.
Well, and Morgan had been a student, and she had essentially just dropped her studies at that point, whether it was from what was going on at home or just a shift in her interests. Like it's one of those things where you go home and it's I have all that crap to do and I just don't want to be here, and mom and dad are going to harp on me for not getting my stuff done because I'm a college kid living at home.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I know. It might be that she was 20 years old, still living at home, and she just didn't really enjoy it.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, most of us don't or wouldn't. But well, anyway, so they're both in bad moods. Tony's angry. They had an argument, which culminated with Morgan calling Tony a bad word.
So it starts with a B.
Yeah, There you go.
Also means female dog.
Yeah, there you go. Apparently, that was unusual for Morgan. Then she went to her bedroom and shut the door. Tony knocked on the door, said she wanted to talk, and Morgan told her to go away. And then Steve, her dad, went in, and they had a little talk for about 15 minutes, which apparently ended on a good note, which is good because they would never talk again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Morgan was found dead in her bed the next morning. And she had her clothes on. She had taken her shoes off, but otherwise was fully clothed. And an autopsy and lab tests revealed extremely high levels of amitriptyline in her system, which is a drug for the treatment of anxiety. I don't know if I mentioned this before. And depression.
One of the several drugs she was on.
Yeah. And but no pills were found in her stomach. Also, her driver's license was missing from her purse, and some of her jewelry was gone. As I said earlier, eventually the coroner ruled the death a suicide by drug overdose. But Tony Ingram's theory in the case is a little different. She and her husband believed that Morgan was murdered by her stalkers. By the time of Morgan's death, they suspected that Brooke Harris was also a part of the stalking conspiracy. Originally, they thought it was just Keenan, but they later came to believe it was Brooke also. And they believed that Brooke and or Keenan concealed themselves in their backyard in the bushes or somewhere and observed them keying the code into the back door. And then knowing the code on late December 1st or in the wee early hours of December 2nd, in his bedroom, and subdued her and administered a fatal dose of liquid amitriptyline, which you can get online even without a prescription, either through injection or by forcing Morgan to drink it. Did I mention that amitriptyline is a date rape drug?
I don't think that's true.
Well, it is, according to Tony Ingram.
Okay.
Yeah. So when Morgan was sufficiently out of it, Keenan raped her. And then apparently Keenan and Brooke put Morgan's pants back on her and left the same way they came in, of course, stopping to grab her driver's license and her jewelry.
His trophies.
Yeah, and so that's our mystery here is, did she commit suicide? And that's Morgan, that is. Was this an accidental overdose? Or was she murdered? Well, there's a few theories. First theory, well, I call hell yeah, she was murdered. The Ingrams actually seem to originally have had theory that she was murdered by fright, and then they now
literally scared to death.
Yeah, apparently, or if she did commit suicide, it was because she was just living in so much terror.
Well, that is not so absurd to me, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I can understand why they would feel that way.
Yeah,
I feel that way.
But the other one is that the stalker. So that thing is, the stalker made her life such a living hell. She killed herself, which means that her stalkers were the killers. And the Ingrams have been very critical of law enforcement for not investigating the crime. There's a long quote, which I won't quote you here, but go to their webpage. It's called morganingram.com, and they will list all their grievances. But here's a synopsis of it. There's been no investigation into her death, nor the stalking. Jewelry was stolen from her room. Her bottom bedsheet, pajamas, driver's license, and more were taken the night she was killed, but no investigation. A year after her death, we would learn that a date rape cocktail was put into her stomach after she was dead, but still no investigation. 2 years after her death, we learned that her body showed evidence of being assaulted, redressed, and posed after she was dead. Still no investigation. So this is the family. This is me paraphrasing what the family said on their website.
Which is strange because when you read the correspondence from the family to the cops, they are so thankful for everything that the police are doing for them. Because the police were going to some pretty big lengths to try to help these people, and then suddenly they turn around and they are ultra critical of their complete and utter lack of motivation to do anything the whole time.
Yeah, I know. I think the police, if there had been any evidence, I think that they would have been happy to follow up on it. Yeah, I'm sure of it. Yeah, so the problems with this murder theory is there's no physical evidence. Her bedroom was in disarray. There's clothes and stuff strewn everywhere, which could be evidence of a struggle.
Except her bathroom was the same way.
There's that.
She had been using one of the other bedrooms in the house. It was also in total disarray.
Yeah.
One of the police, what do they call it? Their summations after the fact. I can't think of the phrase for it.
The reports or whatever.
Yeah, he was saying that he actually used the term slovenly in the report. That is how chaotic that room was.
I don't know. I think men often think that women are very clean. It turns out when we're in our early 20s and our teenage years, no.
You're like a 15-year-old boy.
Oh, God, it's worse.
Because there's makeup involved.
There's makeup and there's 20 times more clothes, and it's just awful. I mean, I was a slob.
Yeah, I'm not going to make any judgments about her because I'm not the tidiest. I'm not the tidiest housekeeper myself.
But the sheer amount of stuff that everybody reported being strewn about.
Oh yeah, they said it was just a mess. Yeah, but not likely to be from a struggle. There were also no marks on her body, no signs. No. I mean, obviously the coroner is going to look her over very carefully.
Yeah.
Because she's 20 years old and she's dead. I mean, so you're definitely going to look for any signs of violence or foul play. And she was examined carefully. There were no puncture marks, no bruises, no scratches, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No outward signs of anything.
And obviously no signs of rape. Obviously, that would be pretty obvious if that had happened, right?
I'm not going to say yes to that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's always as obvious as one might be led to believe, but I also think that sometimes the coroner has to be looking for that. So I'm not gonna be on the bandwagon with that. I don't think she was raped. I'm just to that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be obvious statement.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are ways you could have concealed it, but who knows?
It's also, I think, a lot of people underestimate how hard it is to redress a sleeping unconscious body.
Yeah.
Dead weight.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard enough to dress a live person who's trying to help you.
How many times have you tried to dress a dead body?
I have not ever, but I do have a lot of experience dressing live bodies who are trying to help you, and it's not easy.
Well, you've tried
even
to
when
dress
they're trying to
toddlers
help
who
you.
are...
They're just like, no! No, it doesn't
And they
work
weigh
very
like
well.
16 pounds, or how much a toddler weighs, I don't know, obviously, but probably 30. But the point is, it's not easy.
Yeah, it would not be hard to. I mean, it would. I think that the police would be able to say, okay, there's something off about this. Particularly if it was, 20-year-old girl in 2011. Jeans are tight.
Absolutely, I agree. Morgan did have a prescription for amitriptyline, as I think I said, and a bottle was found in her room, and it had 12 tablets in it.
Do you know what percentage of the pills that was? Like, was that a small amount of the total prescription?
I'm assuming this prescription was, 30 pills probably.
Okay.
I mean, but it could have been for a larger amount.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't really know. Typically, when I get a prescription, it's usually 30 pills.
If it's an ongoing, sometimes I'll get 50.
Yeah, I was going to say...
something I've been on for a long time.
So I looked up amitriptyline, and it really depends on the frequency of the dosage, and then that, of course, dictates the strength of the dosage. Once a day is going to be probably stronger pill than somebody who has to take 3 times a day, and that's going to influence how many pills you get and for how long you're going to be taking them. I mean, again, if it's an ongoing thing, you figure, okay, let's just presume 3 a day. 30-something sounds right, but I don't know.
Now, if it's 3 a day, you're probably going to get 90 at a time. You don't want to be refilling it every
Well, that's the
10
thing.
days.
I don't know. I mean, she had just recently been put on the medication. It wasn't as if it was something that she had been taking for years.
Okay, it's probably a smaller dose.
That's why I'm saying it was probably a smaller amount, but...
I think it was 25 milligrams, and her parents reported that she didn't actually like taking it, and she didn't take it if she didn't have to.
Which is funny, because that conflicts with some other things that I read in regards to the dosages that she was self-administering for some of her medication.
For recreational purposes?
But
No.
Okay, but let's be fair. Just because she was self-administering other doses of other medications doesn't mean that she would have done the same with this, because the way that different medications affect you, if this one is causing her to have some nausea or disassociate or whatever, she's going to be less likely to want to take this than other ones that are affecting her in a positive manner.
That is true if she's experiencing that, but it also doesn't mean that she couldn't have been upping her dose on her own.
Oh, for sure.
What I was talking about the things that she was taking, is she was on gabapentin. Is that, gabapentin, which is, it's an epilepsy or a seizure medication, which I guess she had for a long time.
The medication, not seizures.
Correct, the medication. And Steve apparently was the one who would give it to her.
Yeah, he kept it in his possession. Yeah.
Except that at one point, after her death, he had reported to one of the police officers that, let's just say she was supposed to be taking one every 12 hours or something. She was taking, instead of 1 at a time, she tripled the dosage. She was taking 3 of them at a time.
And at the same interval, or
at the normal interval, she had just decided, for whatever reason, she was upping her dosage. Now, I don't know what the reason or cause of any of that is, and what the implications are. I mean, medication overdoses are bad, and they mix weird, but it's just, when she starts upping one, it makes me wonder if she's upping them all.
Maybe. I don't know what the side effects of that is. Or are, because maybe that I've heard reports that she was using some of her meds for recreational use.
And that's not unheard of either.
Yeah, and so no, it's not.
And she also had some other recreational drugs she was taking.
I'm sorry, I just looked up gabapentin, and it treats nerve pain. So it is an anticonvulsant. But it also treats nerve pain, which means it dulls pain, which means it's a painkiller, which is probably why her father was the one who was trying to administer it to her. But also, if you took a couple of those, I can imagine that would... that
would zone you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Might make it feel nice.
It might be something that's, I mean, there are certain medications that it's like there's no recreational validity to that drug at all. And then there are others that do have those side effects or those effects.
But damn it, again, I feel like the jerk here because that